we'll talk about Artemis 3 and the science team. And this is a very exciting moment in time. Everyone, I'm sure, heard of the selection of Artemis 3 instruments several weeks ago now. We have some exciting updates through, again, some of our potential payloads as well. And so let's get started. Next slide, please. So we have a science team. We have the foundation of an amazing science team, both through the selected geology team, as well as the deployed instruments. You'll hear from Mehdi, Christine, and Hideki shortly, and then Stephen and Kevin after their presentations. With the selection of these instruments, we are now building up our science team, including members of the NASA internal Artemis science team, the subject matter experts, as well as other members of the NASA workforce who are supporting Artemis science, are really leading our way for developing an Artemis 3 science team. We will, as Sarah mentioned earlier, be adding participating scientists to augment the selected team, as well as a deputy project scientist to support me and the entire effort going forward. You've heard about the deployed instruments. You'll hear more about them recently. They are starting on their path to flight. And again, if they're able to clear all those hurdles, we're looking forward to a very, very robust Artemis 3 science mission. We have started meeting as a science team, building up the relationship that really is now transcontinental, and looking forward to several years of working together towards a successful flight. Let's go to our next slide, please, Ricky. The road ahead. There's a lot of work on our collective plates. We're looking at how to define the priorities of the mission. We have some incredible science that we want to support, but that's going to take careful planning and coordination to get the instruments deployed at the same time as conducting the robust geologic investigation that the geology team, Brett, Lauren, and their team want to support. As I said before with Artemis 2, we're looking for how to properly archive this data so that it can be used for generations to come. And just like Artemis 2, we're going to have to develop an observation plan for the crew members that are not on the surface and for the time that the crew is on transit to the moon and on the return to Earth. We're also going to look at ways to utilize time while crew is on the surface, but inside the lander, to observe the landing site over the multiple days that they're on the surface, to augment the surface EVA activities, as well as work closely with our heliophysics, astrophysics, and other disciplines to ensure that the science that's conducted on the moon crosses all of the boundaries within SMD. We are working very closely with the BPS community. You've heard from Kevin. You'll hear from him again in a few minutes, and very much looking forward to integrating their work into the Artemis 3 science plan. As you've heard from Tamara, we are working towards down-selecting landing sites. It's a very exciting time. Mentioned before, the SIR is under construction. Looking forward to getting that utilized for Artemis 2 and training. And as you've heard from, and you'll hear from Cindy, getting the team that will conduct the science, support the science, trained so that we have a very successful mission. In the call for the geology team, there was a lot put into describing the preliminary examination of samples. You'll hear more from Juliana shortly on that, as well as the preliminary science reports, what comes out of that, so that the community is well prepared for the myriad of proposals that will be written in the years to come. Let's go to our next slide, please. Okay. You saw pictures like this. You heard "we are going" used as a tagline for Artemis 1. It's a wonderful phrase. We are going back to the moon. But I think it does not fully capture what we're doing on Artemis 3 and beyond. So if you go to the next slide, Ricky, my preferred thought on Artemis 3 is that we are growing. We're growing an international science community that's going to support Artemis 3, 4, and beyond. We're growing the basis of research to come with the data that we'll collect, the instruments that are deployed, the data that's returned, the crew observations, crew photography, all become the nuggets of future proposals, of future ideas. We're also growing our lunar sample database. Artemis 3 will collect incredible samples that will become the fruits of many years of labor to get to that point, but then will become that gift that keeps on giving for decades, centuries to come. And then quite literally, we are growing plants on the surface of the moon. You'll hear from Christine, the leaf experiment. We are literally going to be taking seeds to become the forerunner for sustaining a long-standing agricultural presence on the moon as well. This is about taking humanity back to the moon and beyond. And Artemis 3 is a wonderful first step before we make those gigantic leaps deeper into the solar system. And with that, I thank you for your time.